Perfect. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to Pleasure Principles, the podcast where we explore the transformative power of connection, intimacy, and of course, the unspoken truths about the human experiences. So today we are delving into a topic that I mean I know many of you will resonate with how honest and daily communication can elevate not just your relationship but your very sense of self as well. So our guest today is the incredible Rola Abu Haidar. So welcome to the show, Rola.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely. You're welcome. So, before we start our conversation today, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Rola, her story is nothing sort of mesmerizing, I'd say. She grew up uh, amidst the vivid tapestry of life in Lebanon, surrounded by both the beauty of love and the devastation of war. From sunbathing between tanks to building a new life in Europe, she has navigated some of the most complex emotional terrains imaginable, I'd say. So, her journey of self discovery, courage, and the resilience has shaped her unique perspective on the connection, intimacy, and the love. And I mean, I have to say, like, wow, I do have questions for her. So, uh, yeah. So
I should
welcome to the
take
show,
your
Rala.
intro and put it on my podcast.
Anytime. Yeah. So definitely, I'll welcome you to the show, and I can't wait to start. I mean, discussing about this topic, which is very very simple yet profound. So communication is at the heart of every connection that we build. But in your experience, having lived in two different cultures, how has your approach to the communication evolved over the years?
It's an excellent question. Having been growing up in a culture where society has a big control over what you do and what you say, it's a culture, it's a Middle Eastern culture where you are taught people pleasing from the moment you
Mhm.
start learning how to talk. Do not upset others. Say the things that others will like to hear. Oh, your uncle is here. Come and say hi. Even if you don't like your uncle, you really don't want to say hi. We grow up learning people pleasing.
Yeah.
This means getting and becoming an adult, people pleasing come with us
Mhm.
until we discover, but this is not right. This is not what I want. This communication is not getting me anywhere. I'm giving, 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 but I'm not getting anything. We didn't learn how to ask for what we want.
Yeah.
Leaving the cultural Middle Eastern society, which was for me a relief because I really wanted to break from these societal expectations. And when I say this, people think, oh, she wants her freedom. She wants to live her life. She wants to date boys and do all this crazy stuff, which is not. I want to feel like in my conversation, in my communication, I'm the equal to the other.
Mm. Exactly. I
And
totally like it.
right, it's like you want to have a two-way conversation.
True.
And moving to the Netherlands, I moved with my ex. He's Dutch. I met him in the Netherlands. We had I mainly our divorce was because of communication. We both have our traumas and we both have not learned how to talk, ask for what we want, listen to the other. And this made me discover, yes, I'm from the Middle East and he is from Western Europe, but we both have really bad communication skills.
Okay.
And this is where my journey in exploring the right way of communication have started. Regretfully with a divorce, but thankfully with it too.
Hmm. Wow. So, just wanted to ask, like, was there a moment when you realized that it's important in creating the intimacy?
Yes, this is something I have learned in the past 12 years.
Mm.
Um, what changes is that we, as partners, we both have to be willing to learn and go through this painful process. It's not a process of a day or two. It's not a
Yeah.
promise you make and then you continuously break and apologize for it. It's hard work. And if you are in your daily life
Mm.
annoyed and irritated about everything going on around you and not able to talk to your partner about it, so how can you be intimate? So, intimacy, basically, not basically, truly, is a lie. You're faking your intimacy while an hour ago you were
Mm.
irritated and annoyed by each other and couldn't tell the one another why. Because one gets his ego offended and the other one feels not heard. And I'm not saying which one. It's a role play. Depending on the issue of the communication, these feelings arise.
Mm.
And this is where, in the past 12 years, my husband and I have been working really hard on learning the skills of communication to a benefit. And now we're really seeing it took us 10, 12 years to start enjoying the fruit of this communication. It's not perfect, but now we know how to deal with it.
Mhm. Understood. And so you also mentioned about the safety in the communication. So, um, for many who are sharing the fantasies, sexual or otherwise, feels like stepping into a highway without a net. So, uh, what advice would you give to someone who wants to create that sense of trust with their partner but uh, doesn't know where to start?
Correct. That's also an excellent question. As I mentioned before, the work on the communication should start on the day-to-day life, on how we feel, why we are turning in circles. This argument is not getting to an end or it's repeating. The first hard work is on these kind of communications. Because to start talking about intimacy and our sexual connection, our fantasies, what we like and how we want to do it, this will come after the communication has become stronger on day to day. It involves exercises to do together, it involves coaching and a lot of vulnerability, you know. And then what I think works best is to start having this connection, intimate connection conversations outside of the house when
Yeah.
on a walk or in a restaurant or watching a movie. The best way to start is start remembering why the couples are together in the first place, what attracted us to each other. You know,
Hmm.
go back memory lane with these hot, beautiful memories in the beginning. This will help bring the rest.
Yeah.
Now, feeling safe and sharing this communication, it means that both parties have to put their guards down and trust each other that
Mhm.
when I'm telling you about my needs and my desires, it doesn't mean you're not enough.
Yeah.
It means you don't know what I like because we're two different persons. It means I'm asking you to give me what I want so that we can elevate our intimacy to the next level together. The easy way is when people get attracted to other persons outside their relationship. That's the easy way because they think, oh, we've been together for so long and we don't have anymore this passionate relationship. And then they start looking outside. I'm not saying everyone.
Mhm.
It is something that we consider in difficult times. And
Yeah.
this is not true. The real issue is the communication. The second thing to enjoy life is to start opening up to each other.
Exactly. That's very, very true. I love that. Like, it's not always about the fantasy, but itself, but uh, about being seen and accepted of for who you are, also, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Being accepted because, if you want to be your authentic and vulnerable
Mm,
self in your life as a
mm,
person, why would you lie about your sexual desire? And if your sexual desire is not accepted, then you have to reconsider, is this
mm.
life I want to live?
Yeah.
If this I want to continue? Because, telling you, I'm not encouraging divorce. I'm not encouraging
Mhm.
people to break up. One day after they've done the hard work and it still doesn't work, yeah, then you've done it all and other options are to explore.
True.
But first, let's do the hard work. That is breaking through this ego, this defensiveness, but it's not in changing the other, it's in improving ourselves.
Mm. Exactly, exactly. And also, there is one tricky thing. Like, what about when two people's fantasies and the emotional needs feel the worlds apart? So, uh, how do you navigate that gap without, like, uh, either of the person feeling invalidated?
First, let's say let the couple put their cards open.
Hmm.
And then when they open their cards, if they think they can help each other, find a common ground, work towards something that satisfies both of them, this is where they need to start. If
Hmm.
the gap is very big that no one of them is willing to take that step into the middle ground, it means their issue is bigger than just not wanting the same thing. It means they have to really think, do we fit as a couple together? It opens up a lot of conversations. And it's scary. It's not easy to put your cards open and say, I like this and I like that. And these are all intimate sexual conversations. It's not easy.
Mm.
We're not used to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And also that brings one of the section, like, um uh or I'd say it's a kind of another layer, like cultural expectations. So, you have experienced such contrasting worlds. So what, according to you, I mean, how do cultural narratives about sexuality and intimacy influence how we communicate?
Stop asking me lovely questions because this episode can take very long. Ironically, what I have discovered, let's take the Middle Eastern culture.
Okay.
You only have sex when you get married.
Mm,
And everything around it until you get married, a lot of talks about sex, jokes. The whole vibe is very sexual in Arab countries.
mhm,
And then I came to Europe. There is, I mean, not anymore. I think now it's time to go back a little bit to some sexual liberation, in my opinion. But
mhm,
when I came here 24 years ago to the Netherlands, I was amazed by how people feel free to live their sexual life. And what shocked me more, they don't talk about it. The jokes are boring because I'm used to sexy jokes. So
mhm.
if I make a sexy joke, I used to feel like everyone is looking at me
Okay.
thinking that I have some intention
Okay.
behind it. And that this contrast is incredibly striking, So
Hmm.
culture where you get married
Yeah.
and then you enjoy sex, and a culture where you enjoy sex without getting married, and yet the communication is so different. What I found for myself and what I have taught myself and hoping to teach my children, I'm teaching them, but they're in difficult age, and to spread the word around me is that no matter where we come from, the cultural differences are not that far from each other.
Mhm.
And it's really funny that I'm the person who's from the Middle East, feel more liberated to talk about sex than a person from Europe. Why? We all should be able to communicate. It reduces so much frustration and
Yeah.
miscommunication. We're lost in translation, if you want to say.
No, 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 definitely. I totally agree with this, because cultural differences are definitely there. And so even if you take example of India, it's the same what you mentioned. It's the same. Like, here also, the problem of communication is definitely there. Problem of communication is definitely there, and uh, even because India is a very traditional country, so they it believes that, again, the same belief. It's like, uh, uh, I mean, it's a belief is definitely there. I respect everything, but apart from that, there is a taboo as well. Like, something is set for something, for some period, for some time, uh, or this shouldn't be the time for right now. So everything, I believe, we as a human being, we have created some boundaries or some uh, policies or the laws by ourselves, that we want our generation or the next generation also to follow the same. So which means, like, you cannot do sex before marriage, you cannot enjoy. So those are, again, these are the taboo things. And if both the person is liking the thing, if both the person have a good communication, that's very rare.
To tell you something from what you're saying is
Yeah.
so true. I
Mhm,
recognize so much on what you're
mhm,
saying. To
mhm,
tell you from a personal experience,
mhm,
I couldn't understand growing up in the Arabic culture is that girls are taught to become wives and the boys are taught to enjoy life. I couldn't accept that only what if I don't get married? It means like I will never know what sex
mhm.
is if I don't get
Yeah.
married. And we have the prime age, when we have children, life becomes so complicated.
Yeah.
And enjoying it before and after, we're not taught how to do this.
Mhm.
It's such a precious thing when it's done correctly. I'm also not fostering that go
Mhm.
out there and, I mean, if you want to, everyone is free to do what they want.
Yeah.
It just starting with a good communication will
Correct.
lead to better intimacy from a young
Ex-
age.
Exactly. I totally agree on this. Yes, definitely. So, one more thing is coming to my mind. Like, uh, if someone, I mean, who is listening right now, if someone feel stuck, maybe in the communication, or maybe in expressing their desires or the fears as well. So, what would you tell them to
Mm.
help them to take that first step towards breaking that silence?
Okay, I'm taking you somewhere, but I'll bring you back to this topic.
Okay, sure.
All right. I was a finance manager for many, many years. And
Okay.
every year we have to put down our goals. And they say, okay, there is every year we have to choose a course, something to elevate our skills, to get better at something. And we do this. In addition to that, we have workshops, coaching sessions at work to become better at our job, to communicate better, become better managers, everything to get the best out of us. We
True.
come home, we're stuck in our same habits. We don't want to grow. We don't want to learn. We don't want to seek people who are experienced and able to help us get out of this terrible circle we turn in our relationship and communication. Why? Why our daily life is different than work? On the contrary, work, we will leave it, we will change career,
Mhm.
but these skills will take them with us. In our relationship, when people feel stuck, it's because they tried it. They can't save each other anymore.
Yeah.
If they're having the same argument over and over again, if one of them feel offended, if they get defensive, a lot of ego going on, this means it's time to ask for help. It's not something we can do by ourselves. It's like any other discussion, or when you have a problem with your landlord, you go to the lawyer.
True.
Why we don't do this in our relationship? Why we just think, no, I can solve it, and this is how we should do it. No, we don't want help. I don't understand that. And I wish that persons who are stuck will also realize. And you know what's the best thing of this, Avik? They don't
Yeah.
even have to go to coaching. There are wonderful podcasts out there that help couples elevate their intimacy, communication, day to day life,
Mm.
their future. And that's for free.
Yeah.
Start there. Listen to pleasure principles, and then you will get unstuck.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, really. It's hard work. It's not a
Mm.
joke. It's a hard work. But everything, if you want to be good at, it's hard work. And can you
True.
imagine when couples do this hard work, how amazing their communication will be with their children, with the people around them? It
Yeah.
reflects positivity everywhere.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Exactly. So I definitely wanted to go on and on, but because of the time constraint, uh, we have to say, thank you to everyone, and thank you to Rolla because I can't thank you enough for sharing your heart, your wisdom, and your incredible journey with us today. Though it's a small tenure today's episode, but it's really great. It's really helpful, and for all the listeners who are listening right now, I hope this conversation has inspired you to open up those lines of the communication, whether it's with your partner, with your friend, or even with yourself. So always remember that pleasure is not just about that the kind of grand gestures or maybe the fantasies we create. It's all about a little connection that we build daily. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, then do not forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, or someone who want to listen to this. And most importantly, keep the conversation going with yourself and the one whom you love. So, until next time, take care, stay curious, and let the pleasure guide your principles. So, with this, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for